Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.
Morning, everyone. Sunny Wednesday here in Brisbane. Hope it's the same for you. A couple of people jumping on. Oh no, Alex, I've got no audio, have I? Hopefully you can hear me. Give me a shout out in the chat team if you can hear me okay. Hopefully you can, Alex. So all's good there. So good morning to you as well. Yes, look, it's not Jason Witten here today. If you haven't sort of seen me around the Traps before team, my name's Cass Sjostedt, representing the property management group here out of the 6-star team, and here to talk all things property management today. Usually about just after 8 o'clock, 10 past 8, we jump on a Wednesday. So we've sort of taken over. Got myself a coffee. I've actually got myself a sign too. So hopefully that looks all right. It's coming through all right on your end because it looks pretty flashy from my end. And talk all things property management here on a Wednesday morning. So let me know, team. All good. Audio's good. Awesome. Always good. Never want to be talking to myself on these things. So it's great you can all hear me, which is awesome. So, hey team, look, today, Wednesday morning, what I wanted to, I guess, have a conversation, a bit of a chat with you guys about regarding property management was how this one thing cost this one owner $18,000. Yes, you heard that right. One thing, one decision, $18,000 in costs and expenses to get this thing rectified. It was a pretty alarming situation that I sort of found myself in with this owner when called in to sort of come and help. And I thought I learned some things through that on potentially how this landlord and this property management team got into this situation in the first place. So that's what I want to talk about today with you guys. Hopefully it's a bit interactive, get some questions from you guys as well. Bunty's jumping online G'day, Bunty. Hope you are well. Hope everyone had a good Easter. Talking about chocolate eggs yesterday, I'll tell you what, I found some spare chocolate eggs around the office yesterday. So to the team in Brizzy, they're mine now, which is good. So the team, look, getting on with it. I don't want to get sidetracked today. The number one thing, team, what do you think it is? The number one thing that cost this owner $18,000. You guys tell me in the chat, what do you think? Think property management. Think of maybe some experiences you've had or some stories you've heard. What is the one thing potentially that cost this owner thousands of dollars? Morning, James. Great to see you. Thanks for jumping on. What's that one thing, team? Is it something or someone? Anyone want to go in the chat and have a crack at that? Because I think we were talking last week, team, about, the number one person that is your eyes and ears through the holding phase of your investment journey. We sort of established there that, that's your property management team. And I think when I came across this situation with this particular client, it was the first thing that came to my head. How on earth did we get in this situation in the first place? So hopefully today I'm going to share some of that insight with you, because for the last couple of weeks on a Wednesday morning, we've been saying property management is all about keeping you safe and making you wealthy. And certainly in this case, this was quite prevalent. Alex, not charging market rent. Yes, that was one factor. Absolutely. This was one factor on missed opportunity. Thankfully, this story has a nice ending to it too. But yep, that's one of the things, Alex, not charging market rent. And team, how would we generally go about, pop this in the chat for me, how would we generally go about finding our property manager? How do we normally go about selecting one, finding one, researching about one? What's the normal process as a landlord, as an investor, that we do to go about that process? Morning, Luke. Good to see you last week. Thanks for jumping on. So, team, normally when we go and select a PM or try and find a PM to partner with, we jump online, we go to Google, maybe we get a referral, maybe we just take a recommendation. Yeah, Alex has just nailed it as soon as I said a personal recommendation. Absolutely. G'day, Jeff. Hope you're doing well, mate. Actually, Jeff, I was out at Ascot, Flemington. I've got a video coming for you soon, so stay tuned for that one. I was there last week. But other than Google, reviews, word of mouth, personal recommendations. The other thing we generally look to find, or how we go about finding property management teams, is usually there's a combination of just looking for the cheapest agent, right? So 1-2%, and usually that 1 or 2% different in the management fees. Honestly, team, usually 1 or 2 cups of coffee a week, right? Now I get it, cups of coffee are not as what they used to, don't cost us what they used to be, but it's one of the factors in there. And sort of this one thing around selecting the property manager to go the distance with you for 10, 15 plus years honestly cost this owner $18,000 in their share. What that looks like right now. Chris, you sort of nailed it there. Is that coming up? Hopefully it is. No, it's not. There it is. This tech, how good. Usually without research, people use the agent they sold the property. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Maybe we're not as attentive. Maybe we're being a bit passive through that selling process. We're excited. We've just bought it. We've just acquired this property, and we just go with what's put in front of us. So my tip today is going to be about, according to who and comparing to what. So what's my point, team? How did selecting the wrong property manager cost this owner $18,000? Here's how. Anyone here, team, anyone throughout your holding phase, throughout your property management journey, anyone experienced significant damage at their property? Anyone experienced rent arrears or extended vacancy, loss of rent? Put that in the chat for me. Give me a brief overview of your experience in that space, because it happens, more often than not. 13 years in this industry, team, I certainly see the highs and lows, and it usually comes down to a few of these things, right? Damages, vacancy, tenancy issues, arrears, etc. And in this case, I said to the owner, how does that make you feel? Yeah. Bob says, not really. Awesome. You must have a great property manager, Bob. So that's what we want. So that's really good to hear. Jeff says, not yet, touch wood. Exactly. And how we avoid that, team, is putting some good processes in place, and selecting the right property management team to go the distance with you is going to absolutely help you influence that, right? So yeah, Luke says, luckily no, and Alex says, of course, but minimal. Cool. So obviously it's about keeping you safe and making you wealthy, team. So, good PMs, they keep you safe, they make you wealthy. Not so good PMs, team. In this case, there's a few things that occurred that didn't go to plan, or wasn't thought about, or maybe there was a lack of experience or education. So, in this case, there was a lack of reference checks on the application forms. There was a lack of detail and thoroughness through routine inspections, entry condition reports, right? I might have to do another Wealth Copy Chat on that one, because, minimizing your risk is super important. Does the property manager on your team right now necessarily understand what a good insurance policy looks like for a landlord or not? Now, I'm not saying they need to be insurance brokers. That's definitely not what I'm saying. So an asterisk on that. But essentially, understanding, the length of rent cover, whether locks are recovered, tribunal costs are recovered, these sorts of things. And is your property manager able to handle sort of conflict and tenancy issues as they come up? Because Alex sort of alluded to, yeah, these things happen, right? We want to minimize the risk for our owners over a particular time period. So, question, team, is, sometimes we need to reflect and think according to who? The information that's put in front of us, whether it's the rent review, whether it's, around understanding the market. And if you're coming along to, some of you guys I know come along to mentoring on a Monday night, the property management slot is going to be there on Monday, and I'll be there for a little bit with you guys, talking about how to sort of beat that rental market value, which is super important. But I think, if we're not questioning, not again asking that question, according to who, getting the evidence, whether it's your landlord's insurance, whether it's what does a good routine inspection report look like? What does a good high standard entry condition report look like? These are the things we want to, keep an eye on, right? Be attentive, not necessarily be the passive owner, but good property managers make your life a little bit easier. Because when these things come up, team, when you do face challenges with damages, arrears, all the expenses that come with it to rectify it, what does that tend to bring on for the team, right? Because it brings, in this case, it brought on stress, was more pressure. There was, time, I guess, the time it took to rectify the property and the vacancy in between that to get it back up to a standard to rent out. All this stuff adds up, right? At the end of the day, it costs you revenue. Yeah. And so, like I said, we're keeping you safe, making you wealthy. And that wealthy part is about maximizing your revenue, right? Through rent review, through tenancy and occupancy. So when we were called into this sort of stuff, team, at this stage, unfortunately, it was kind of, everything was too far gone, right? The event already happened. I couldn't put the processes in place that we normally have because the event was already done, right? So, team, the number one thing that we can get right, and it's up to you guys to get this right, and this is where I want to help and share some insight into it, is how you select that your property management team for the next 10, 15 years of your investment journey, right? Sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. Where do we find them? What does it look like? What are the standards around some of the operational stuff that goes on, which ultimately affects whether the property is tenanted and occupied for a higher percentage of time, whether the property does reach its maximized revenue amount, and has the ability and capacity to beat the market. At the end of the day, we want tenants to stay longer, not turn over every 6 months, let's call it. So, the number one thing, team, selecting your property manager, it's absolutely critical. I hope I haven't missed anything there. I see some chat going on in here. I'm not sure if I can quickly catch up on that too. What's Chris saying here? Someone's put a bullet hole in the wall and the property back in the 90s. Jeez, Chris, that sounds like a story there. So thankfully I haven't had that experience just yet. But again, it's the processes you put in place. It's the person, the eyes and ears on the ground team, through your property management group that are going to help you put the right things in place to avoid these situations. Unfortunately, in this case, right, when you don't have the right things in place and you don't have the right insurance and you don't have the right team providing some recommendations or providing the information in front of you, unfortunately, we don't make informed decisions. And ultimately, in this case, even the good PMs can't sort of, rectify when it's too late. So I guess my point today, team, is, if you haven't got some framework around how to select a property manager or understanding what good routine inspections look like, what good rent reviews look like, all the operational stuff that is a day-to-day thing for our property management teams out there in the marketplace, I would suggest let's go and build that out, team, because in this case, $18,000 was the cost out of pocket. You guys tell me in the chat. I'm sure none of you would like that. I'd like $18,000 in my pocket, coming in and maximizing that, not the other way around. So I hope you guys would agree with me in that place. I think certainly talking to Luke and Chris, who were online today, last week with some of their property, that to do right is maximizing that result. So team, I hope that's given you a bit of insight. How this one thing cost this owner $18,000 was the selection criteria around their property manager. So hopefully that allows you guys to start building out that framework, right? Any questions, obviously, it's popping up on your screen there to unpack a little bit further. But hey, it all starts with your property management team when you hit that holding phase of your investment journey, team. It's an exciting time, certainly comes with challenges, but you put the right framework in place and you'll certainly get through it. So that's my little 2 cents this morning here on a Wednesday. Hopefully it's still sunny where you guys are, because it certainly is here. So I'm certainly going to enjoy my Wednesday. Hope you guys are too. Just remember, team, when it comes to property management, it's about keeping you safe, making you wealthy. Thanks, team. See you next week.